What the pandemic taught me about business. Hey, you, I'm Sarah Turner. I'm a copywriter and copywriting mentor, and I have learned so much through the pandemic. It rocked the world, it rocked businesses, and being an entrepreneur is tough enough as it is. But with everything that happened in 2020 and beyond, there has been so many important takeaways that I want to be sure to kind of go over and just cement so that we can revisit it, because I think these are really important lessons for us to all to take in and to really integrate into our business knowledge. Tough times present us with a really unique opportunity to kind of rethink the way we view things, and that's exactly what I think has happened. So here are my biggest takeaways. I've always said to expect the unexpected, but now this has been proven to be even more relevant to our world. So when you expect the unexpected, and I know it sounds a little contradictory, you really invest in your own ability to kind of figure things out. And that is the most important skill you can add to as an entrepreneur. Building your confidence to kind of shape shift with the times, to adapt and to grow, to consider yourself a student is really revolves around mindset work and making sure that you're kind of always reminding yourself that the idea that the world as we know it will always be the same is an illusion. I mean, control is an illusion, right? And so to not get too philosophical on you, it's just something to incorporate in your day-to-day. It's actually again, something I've always tried to remind myself and to teach others. But as I watched this unfold, it reminded me of just how important it is to remember that businesses and the way we run things can change overnight. This is also reinforcing my belief that the most important thing you can invest in is your skill set. Because as you increase your knowledge and skill set as an entrepreneur, you inherently make yourself more valuable. You have more skills that you can offer and lean on in case things do dramatically change overnight. So that was my second biggest lesson. The third one is that there's no right or wrong way to do business. Again, I had so much fear and doubt, especially for my students when, the COVID was announced a global pandemic and quarantines were put in place. But what I came to realize is that when you empower people to think differently, and as the word kind of became coined, to pivot, people are able to come up with all sorts of creative solutions to restructure their business or how they're doing things, how they're serving their customers, and just giving yourself that freedom to think like that allows us to adapt more quickly. I mean, a lot of businesses created unique and new opportunities for themselves, and some even went on to thrive in this situation. It was all based in our ability to figure things out, to adapt, to be a student, to be open-minded. So really, truly, I think those are the most important qualities that you can work to cultivate within yourself that ultimately creates stability in your future. The next thing that I learned is that you, and I mean you, are more flexible and adaptable than you probably realized. Again, this is one of my favorite parts about being a human. We're super dynamic and ability to adapt and shapeshift with the changing times relatively quickly. And so if you have always thought of yourself as, maybe not having some of the traditional qualities of an entrepreneur, I'm willing to bet that if you take the time to really look at how you responded to COVID, you'll find that you are much more resilient and adaptable than you realized. The next one is that community is so important. I cannot even emphasize enough how essential it is that you reach out and cultivate relationships in your entrepreneurial journey. It is so essential for your growth that you find your community. And luckily, you have access to communities that aren't just in your immediate, physical network. You have access to communities online. And when you reach out for support with people who are on the same journey as you, not only are you going to grow exponentially and at a much more rapid pace than if you were to do it alone, but you're going to have that support you need in tough times. The amount of collaboration that came about within my student group and among copywriters during the pandemic was quite frankly inspiring. It gives me chills to actually think about it. So if you are feeling lonely still, it's so important that you start reaching out and cultivating relationships. I even tell people that, just saying to someone, hey, like I notice you, when you see somebody who's got like an energy or a vibe that you're super into and you're like, I think we might be friends. I just say things like that. And I used to be really, really scared to do it, think that it sounded weird, but I've created so many wonderful friendships just by going up and having the courage to say to someone, I love what you're doing. I see what you're doing. I think we'd be friends. Let's grab a coffee or let's like hop on a call and talk about your business sometime. Goes so far, especially as an adult. People are all kind of in the same boat where we're like, we want to make more connections, but we're a little nervous because we're adults and it's not like when you were children. It was more effortless to kind of make these new friendships. You got to be a little bit more intentional as an adult, but I want to encourage you to do it because it is so rewarding. Another lesson I learned is that it is far more stable to have your paycheck come from many different clients than one company. This is something that I have been shouting from the rooftops since 2008 when I saw so many of my friends and myself included struggle to keep their income. Jobs were lost overnight, especially in industries that felt relatively secure or stable. And I have just learned that stability and security that comes with getting the same size paycheck every 2 weeks is totally an illusion. It is far more stable to have your income coming from multiple different avenues, from different revenue streams, from different clients, because what ends up happening is when something rocks the economy, like a global pandemic, you generally don't lose everything overnight. Instead, maybe you lose 25% of your income. There were so many stories of copywriters I know where they didn't lose all of their income, but maybe they lost 25% of their income, but their husband, for example, maybe lost their entire job. And so again, I want you to push back against the old school mindset that it's more secure or stable to bet on one company. I really believe it's more stable and secure to bet on yourself, your skill sets, and your ability to keep growing and showing up. The other thing I learned is that businesses can flourish even in difficult times, and not just ones that are maybe opportunistic or, taking advantage of the situation, because I know that can be a lot of the negative rhetoric in the mainstream media. But no, businesses can absolutely flourish in a really authentic, genuine way. So many people saw the craving for connection and started building online communities, and those flourished tremendously. So keep in mind that a lot of times we hold ourselves back just because we're seeing so much just pain and a catastrophe happen before our very eyes. But if we can take a step back, find just a sense of calm, even in the chaos, I am willing to bet that you can find a lot of clarity that will guide your next step forward and even help you start businesses that will, go on to not only support your family, but actually have a positive impact in the world. And then the last thing that I really learned is that people are always buying things. I mean, it was incredible to see the shift in consumer behavior. And as a copywriter, you're selling things. And so we thought that everything would kind of just shut down overnight, but a lot of industries actually boomed. E-commerce absolutely exploded, and that is a niche that I have been saying for a long time would be something that would always be relatively secure. And so keep that in mind too. People are kind of always shift their behaviors, and as a copywriter, it's up to you to be aware of that, to be open-minded to seeing how things are shifting. So those are some of my biggest takeaways from the pandemic. I really want to encourage you to take some time to journal about your experience too, because that's one of the fastest ways to learn and to set yourself up for success in the future for another time when something that we can't even imagine right now happens and rocks the world as we know it. Remember, when you expect the unexpected and you stay open and flexible, things like this are less terrifying. So I hope that helps. Go ahead and leave me some comments. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Hit that thumbs up button if this was, resonated with you. And of course, please don't forget to subscribe. It really means a lot to me when you do. Thanks, guys.